Michael Jackson didn't just perform, he did things that looked physically impossible, from gravity-defying footwork to moments on stage that science still can't fully explain. These are the 10 times we genuinely forgot he was human. And stay with me, because buried in this list are rare clips even the most loyal MJ fans have never seen. Each moment gets more unbelievable than the last, so let's see how far human limits can really be pushed.
Number 1. The Moonwalk. In 1983, during Billie Jean on the Motown 25 special, Michael slid backward while appearing to walk forward, and living rooms everywhere went silent. The moonwalk existed in street circles as the backslide, but when he delivered it, time to the snare, shoulders liquid, face calm, it felt newly minted. The trick sits in weight transfer, one foot flat and driving, the other feather light. A heel peeling up as the supporting leg glides the body on a hidden conveyor belt. But the true magic wasn't only the feet, it was the setup and reveal. He teased with small steps, held the room with a still glance, then unleashed the glide in one clean, unbroken line. Cameras caught it head-on, the world stopped, then screamed. It became the shorthand for Michael's entire myth. Impossible, effortless, unforgettable. The moonwalk wasn't just a move, it was a promise that the ordinary rules didn't apply on his stage, and he had the timing to prove it. And just when the world thought that was the limit, he pushed even further. When Michael Jackson arrived in Bucharest for the Dangerous tour in 1992, the city had never seen anything like it. Over 70,000 fans filled the National Stadium waiting for a show that was being broadcast across the globe, and Jackson made them wait. Rising slowly from beneath the stage, he froze in his iconic stance, motionless, almost like a statue. For nearly 2 full minutes, he didn't move, didn't speak, didn't sing. The crowd, already in a frenzy, erupted into hysteria. Fans screamed themselves hoarse, some even bursting into tears, while others simply couldn't take the pressure and collapsed. Ambulances rushed through the aisles, lifting unconscious bodies out of the sea of people. What's incredible is that this all happened before a single lyric had been sung. Jackson's aura alone, his presence, created an atmosphere so overwhelming that human bodies gave out. And when he finally sprang to life, launching into his performance, the wave of fainting only escalated. It was a moment that proved Michael wasn't just performing. He was orchestrating raw human emotion on a scale never seen before. Number 3. The toe stand. Precision is the quiet twin of spectacle, and the toe stand proves it. In Billie Jean, he would rise onto the very tips of his toes and freeze there, perfectly balanced, like a statue that still somehow breathed. No wires, no edits, just tendon strength, immaculate alignment, and a fearless center of gravity. He often placed it after a flurry of spins, which made the sudden stillness hit even harder. The eye expects motion, and he gives you silence. The silhouette does half the talking. Hat brim pulled low, spine tall, ankles taut as cable, a single finger pointing to the rafters as if to say, "That's the note." The toe stand isn't flashy on paper, but on stage, it's a victory flag. It turns balance into bravado, because in the middle of lights, screams, and moving parts, he can become a human exclamation mark, the kind of punctuation that makes the crowd erupt before the music even hits the next bar. By 1997, Michael Jackson was deep into his HISTY tour, and the spectacle had only grown bigger. But during one stop in Vienna, something happened that showed just how fragile the line was between idol and fan. In the middle of You Are Not Alone, Jackson invited a young woman from the audience onto the stage. At first, she was trembling, overwhelmed just to be standing next to him. As he sang, she clung to him with both arms, unable to let go. The cameras zoomed in, capturing her face twisted with tears, her body visibly shaking. And then, in front of tens of thousands, she fainted right in Jackson's arms. Security rushed forward, but Jackson didn't panic. He simply adjusted his stance, kept holding her, and continued singing as though nothing could interrupt the performance. It was equal parts shocking and surreal. the world's biggest pop star singing a love ballad while a fan lay unconscious against his chest. What makes this moment so iconic is how it blurred the line between concert and human drama. Was she overcome with emotion, or did she fake it to stay in his embrace longer? Fans have debated it for years, but one thing is certain: it became one of the most unforgettable fainting incidents in Michael's career.
Number 5. The Robot. Before the space-age polish of the solo years, young Michael was already flirting with futurism. The robot, those jerks and freezes, joints clicking like gears, made him look half human, half android. On Dancing Machine, he throttled the crowd with stop-motion accuracy, hitting tiny accents most people didn't even hear. The trick isn't mere stiffness, it's rhythm inside the stiffness, micro-timing that turns mechanical into musical. He'd slice the air with a forearm, lock the elbow like a hinge, let a shoulder pop travel like a signal down the arm, then kill the motion completely on a dime. That tension and release set the crowd up for surprise, because once he established himself as a precise machine, he could melt back into fluidity, proving he owned both extremes. The robot announced a young performer who already understood contrast. If you can dance like a machine and then instantly move like water, the audience stops trying to guess what comes next and just watches, wide-eyed.
The Bucharest concert of 1992 has gone down in history not only as one of Michael Jackson's most legendary shows, but also as the clearest example of how his presence could physically overwhelm his audience. This wasn't just another concert, it was broadcast live on HBO, reaching tens of millions of viewers worldwide. And what those cameras captured was unforgettable. Throughout the performance, the broadcast kept cutting to the audience, and again, the images were the same. Fans in tears, gasping for breath, clinging to each other, and collapsing under the sheer emotional weight. Security guards carried unconscious fans out of the crowd by the dozens, some limp and unresponsive, others still crying even as they were dragged away. One girl was shown being wheeled out on a stretcher, her face still streaked with tears, while Jackson continued performing with absolute intensity on stage. What makes this moment stand out is that it wasn't just rumored, it was documented on live television. Millions of people around the world witnessed the hysteria in real time. It cemented the idea that fainting at a Michael Jackson concert wasn't exaggeration or fan lore, it was reality. The world watched as fans literally couldn't handle the experience of seeing him live, and the footage became one of the most powerful testaments to the magnitude of his fame.
Number 7. The Kick. Energy needs edges, and Michael's signature kicks carve them in the air. Clean, high, and laser straight, his legs sliced upward like a drawn sword, perfectly timed to a shout or a snare crack. Sometimes it swung like a pendulum, a controlled arc that cut across the beat. Sometimes it fired on the diagonal with startling speed. The aesthetics are martial but musical. The leg doesn't flail, it sings the note the drummer just played. He used kicks to punctuate transitions, to shock the tempo forward, to embody confrontation in songs built on attitude. What sells the move is precision, toes pointed, knee tracked, core braced, and power originating from the hip and exiting the line like a whip crack. Paired with a heel click or a quick body turn, the kick becomes both emphasis and direction change. It says, I own the downbeat and I can kick it into place. And the audience feels that command as much as they see it.
Copenhagen's stop on the HI Story Tour in 1997 showed just how far fans were willing to push their bodies just to witness Michael Jackson live. The concert took place under heavy rain, with the stadium drenched and the ground slick with mud, yet not a single fan moved from their spot. Thousands stood for hours in soaked clothes, screaming through the storm, waiting for Jackson to appear. When the lights cut out and his silhouette appeared, the reaction was volcanic. People surged forward despite the slippery ground, creating waves of panic near the front. Within minutes of the show starting, fans were collapsing left and right, some from exhaustion, others from the sheer emotional overload. Medics dragged limp bodies through puddles, while poncho-clad security struggled to carry people away from the crush.
The most striking part of Copenhagen was how unrelenting the fainting was. Even as paramedics lined the stadium floor, even as rain poured down on unconscious fans being revived, the hysteria didn't stop. Every movement from Jackson, every glance, every lean, every dance move sent another wave of people over the edge. For those who were conscious, the sight of fans being wheeled out on stretchers only added to the intensity, making the night feel more like a fever dream than a concert.
Number 9. The shuffle/side slide. Sideways flight. That's the side slide. Not backward like the moonwalk, but lateral, as if the floor turned to ice and invited him to skate. The feet do deceitful things. One pushes while the other yields, weight sneaking from edge to edge so the body appears to drift on rails. It reads playful, less, how is that possible, and more, why does that feel so good? The side slide is social. Fans try it, laugh, try again, and for a second they get the joy of controlled glide. For Michael, it's connective tissue, the silk between fireworks. He uses it to cruise into formation, to orbit a bandmate, to transition from hard-hitting accents back into smooth phrasing without losing momentum. Because it's understated, it sets up surprise. The softer the slide, the harder the next hit lands. In a set full of jaw-droppers, the side slide is the smile, a reminder that mastery can be fun, and groove can be as thrilling as spectacle.
Mexico City's Azteca Stadium is one of the largest venues in the world, and when Michael Jackson brought the Dangerous Tour there in 1993, it was filled to the brim with over 100,000 screaming fans. From the moment he appeared, the stadium was in chaos. The crowd pressed forward so violently that medics couldn't keep up with the fainting and collapses. Reports described waves of unconscious fans being pulled from the audience, while others sobbed uncontrollably, trembling in the heat and hysteria. Jackson didn't just sing and dance that night. He controlled the atmosphere like a conductor leading an orchestra of human emotion. Every pause, every stare, every lean toward the audience sent fresh waves of people over the edge. By the time the show ended, hundreds had fainted, and the stadium floor looked like the aftermath of a tidal wave. For Mexico City, it wasn't just a concert, it was a collective out-of-body experience. From Vienna to Seoul, Bucharest to Mexico City, Michael Jackson's concerts weren't just shows. They were events so overwhelming that fans literally lost consciousness.